Alright, today we're going to be repairing a Kenmore dryer. It's not heating, it's spinning and cycling, but there's no heat, so the clothes aren't getting dry. I repaired it last year, exactly February of 2017, almost to the day. It was the heating element, and that came with some extra parts that I did not use, two thermostats, but I'm hoping that that's what it is. That's a little bit easier, but let's get to it.
And dryer fixing 101, you want to start by unplugging it. You know that.
This is a Kenmore Elite dryer, and if you have your manual you could probably look up the model number, but usually there's a series of numbers on it. So what we do, I just come right here, pop the, and if you look, the model number is right there. Okay, the way I did this is I just used a butter knife. You don't have to. You can use a paint scraper or whatever, but it goes right in here, and you push from the corners. There's a little pin there, you pop that pin, then this pops up. You do the same thing on this side. That butter knife right in there, and push, and then as you're pushing you pull up, and this opens right up. There's your tumbler. Now we're going to have to get the faceplate of this off, and there's some snaps that are come along here, and you'll be unscrewing these in here as we go on both sides. Then this whole front will come off, including the door. And you're going to want to remove this door switch connector. So if you're looking at the machine, I got the door open, it's right there. I just use a tiny little screwdriver, and you put it right inside that hole right there, and just kind of push it in and twist up. I already did it, so it just pops open, and just take it off. That's it. Now remember, I told you about these screws right here on the faceplate, because once we got the door switch connector off here, and the lid's up, we're going to pick up on this, but we can't pick up on it yet because we got to take these screws out. So I got myself a 5/16 socket. I'm just going to go down the line. They're just hand tight usually. They're just machine screws. They're not just holding it together. But see how that is? I'm just going to go down. I'm going to do this side. There's two on the top. I believe, if I remember correctly, when I did this last time, there's two on the bottom. I'm going to do both sides, and then I'll show you how to pop this front off. Just want to show you all something else. There's two screws here, and I forgot. This one definitely has to come off the top, and where that clip is right there, there's a clip. But the bottom one, you see how it's not all the way enclosed? Because once we get this top one off, which is enclosed, we're just going to pick up on this whole thing and pop it up, and we can leave that one in there, just like on this side. So I'm just going to take this top one off right here. The bottom screw down there, just leave it on there. It's out enough because this just kind of this faceplate slides over. You'll see a little bit better once I pop it off. Alright, I did the top screw there, the top screw over here. Now just pick up on this. I'm just grab the front of this and just pick up. See how it just pops open? Now with the dryer off, the front door to the dryer off, I can get a little better look at what's in the componentry down in there, and you can see this is our drum here that spins when the clothes are being done. Now there is one more thing that this will also come off too eventually when we get in deeper into the dryer, but this is just the beginning face plate right here, and this is your exhaust system here where your lint is, and it's a good time now when you're doing a job like this as well to clean the lint out that normally you wouldn't see. If I failed to mention, this is an electric dryer, it's not gas. Anyway, we're to the portion where I showed you already. We got the door off the dryer, and now we're to this next section. Once I take these screws out, I said we'll expose the drum a little bit more. And then you can see this is the belt that turns it right there. See it? That turns it right there. So once we get all this apart, we'll get into the belt system. It's just very simple. It just pops off, and it's not anything very hard. Okay, now we're going to remove the belt, the drum, and that sits on the rollers in there. But to do that, it's just the same screws I told you. I already took that one out. I put that one back. This is the one we took out originally. I just put it back so I didn't lose it with the clips there. But there's four of them. There's 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and then of course you got to deal with the air duct here. That's not hard either. Okay, inside this dryer you'll see there's the light that turned on when you're open the dryer door. You don't have to worry about unplugging that. Okay, also too, I want you to see this. This is the moisture sensor, and we're going to have to disconnect this here when we get into this. Pull that out here, so that just lays on the ground. Just remember, it's right here. It's connected to here. Here's your exhaust area. Then we have to take out this lint holder here. This is where your lint screen goes in there. We're going to take this out, and there's a screw back here, one there, Phillips, I believe, and another one over here, Phillips. You take that out, and this whole compartment pops out of here. And you can see I got my screwdriver in there, and those screws are exposed. I mean, when I turn, you can see that screw turning right there. It's exposed. It's sticking out right here. So I'm going to give you a perspective. That screw is in here, so you got to kind of stick your head in the dryer, put your screwdriver in there, and then back these out so you can pop out this lint screen holder. Just to show you how that looks now that I unscrewed both sides of it, it just comes out. That's your lint screen holder. That's where you normally would drop it in there right there. But that's just attached with 2 screws, one on each side. Might want to get yourself one of those flashlights that has the magnets on the bottom for this job. It helps a lot. We'll just set this over here. But just to show you this flashlight, a couple of bucks at Walmart. Has 2 magnets on the bottom, and has a flashlight on it, and then a floodlight. But it just sticks right inside your dryer when you're working. Makes it a lot easier. But now we got this disconnected here, so we'll go from there. Just to also show you too, we disconnected that. Remember when we disconnected those wires right there? That's connected to this, which is the moisture sensor on your lint trap. That's where your lint. And this is all your moisture sensor is right there. These strips right here. They send that signal up that line, and of course into the brain of the system, which is up in here, and it can tell if it's closed or dry or not. The other thing is too is you might want to have a shop vac when you're doing this job. You're going to get a lot of lint on the ground. I will tell you one thing about this job though, it smells good depending on what kind of fabric softener you're using. It's not a smelly job. It actually smells like fabric softener in here right now because this lint obviously holds that odor in it, and that's a good smell if you're using the good stuff. And now we're to the portion of the video where I am going to take these are 5/16 screws, machine screws, that hold this exhaust on, which is keeping us from taking this completely off. So we've got to, it's all connected to this portion here. So I'm going to pop this off and unscrew it. Just, I think it's 2, maybe 4 screws, and that's it. Alright, so I just took out those 4 5/16 machine screws. And here's our exhaust. Just set this aside. Look at that. Something went through the dryer. I don't know what that is. It's not a dryer part. It's just something that was in the clothes. Part of a toy or something. You'll find all kinds of stuff in here. Alright, so now we can take this off, and we just did. Boom, and you see the rollers there on this one. So front part of the drum, it just sits. That drum just sits on those rollers right there. On the back of this panel here. See there? There's one. And there's the other one. They just spin. That's what holds the drum. The only thing holding that drum on there now is nothing. See how it's wanting to lean forward like this? So I can just pick. I'm going to take this strap off right here. That's the belt for it. And then I'm going to just grab this drum and pick it up and take it out. It's very lightweight. It's not heavy at all. Now what I had done when I grabbed the drum, and I'm only got one hand. I'm only holding this camera with one hand. I made sure I kept a little tension on the belt just so it didn't fall off. I wanted to see how it's configured. But I mean, if you look, that belt just goes under that white pulley in the back, and then it goes over that one on that chrome metal one on the back side, and then the drum itself fits inside this loop here and stretched out over. I had marked my drum rear and front as well. So when I put it back, I just know and remember. I just did that with a Sharpie. But right there is the housing for our heating element, which we replaced last year, like I said. And these right here, it came with this part last year here. It's a thermostat, and then there's a second thermostat. They're two different, serve two different purposes. And I'm just going to check these two thermostats for continuity, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But we've got to disconnect them and see if they're working right. If they're not, we just take them. There's a bolt here. They just come off here, and we just put the new ones on. As you see, there's a bolt on the top, and obviously there's one on the bottom. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. And so far, everything I've taken off to get to this point has all been 5/16 screws, machine screws. They're all the same on this particular model. Okay, I've cleaned it up a little bit with a vacuum. You can see it's a lot better. Those are the back rollers right there. Obviously, the back part of the drum sits on. They just spin it. That's how it works. It just sits in there, and that motor just spins that pulley, and it just turns the belt. That's it. Now we're going to check our thermostats. Let's check our first one. We use the ohm meter, digital multimeter here, and what I'm going to do is just check for continuity to make sure there's no breaks in a circular electrical current that passes through the wire. So it should have continuity, which means everything is connected and you can get a current through. Whereas if there's a break in that wire or a break in that line, it's not going to have continuity. So we set it to this setting right here, if you can see that or not. Let me get a little light in there for you. Okay, we set it to the setting which is right here. Let me see this light. Right there. I'm going to turn it. See? Now, I'm going to disconnect this one first, and I've just got to remember I see the red on top, black on bottom on this thermostat here. Let's see what happens. I'm going to put this one on there. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but you hear a beep, it's got continuity. Yep, that's got continuity. I can check this one. We don't really have to pull them off. I can put that one right in there. And we've got continuity here too. Hear it? So that means that these two are good. It's probably going to be the heating element, which is underneath this housing. So I'm going to have to take this off and just put the same thing, these two terminals from the multimeter onto the coil to see if there's continuity, and there probably won't be. There wasn't last year when this went. Alright, to get this housing off, I switched this up. These were 1/4 inch, not 5/16 like the rest of them. They're just a little bit smaller than the other ones, but I'm just going to go down along here and just unscrew them. You don't even need a ratchet. So hand tight. They're just machine screws. You know, like I said, I did this last year, so they're a little loose. And then once I get this off, the housing here, I'll show you the heating element under there, and that's going to probably be bad. And just to show you, I didn't get it off yet, but this is what the heating element's connected to. These are the terminals for the heating element, and they are actually connected to this is actually comes with the heating element, so when I take this off, that's going to come with it. But I can tell you right now, I just checked it, there's no continuity, so the heating element went bad, which I suspected anyways is why I took the whole thing apart. You could have probably just got to the faceplate and checked that, but you would have realized that it needed to be replaced and had to take it off anyways. But I'll show you what happens. You put this one here, it doesn't matter which one, red or black, and then I take the other one, and as you can see, they're both touching the metal, but you don't hear the alarm going off, which means that there's no continuity inside that coil. That coil in here is broken. I got a cheap one. I found another one for $16 this year. Last year the one I found was for $25. So I'm not buying the most expensive kind, but the dryer is rather old as well. So if I have to replace this every year, I'll replace it every year. It's not a big deal. You can spend up to $100 on these if you want, and there's no guarantee that it will work. You could still be replacing it anyways. So I'd rather just not spend the money, but that's up to you. Now, to get this,
housing off, which is really a heat shield because this coil underneath there gets very hot. That's a safety thing. What you have to do is you have to remove these thermostats where they're mounted. Now, instead of removing them, the whole thing, what I did last time, I just took the top one off because it connects, the way this is set in there, the top screw is connected to the top of the housing, the bottom screw is connected to the bottom. So to get this off, you have to at least take the top one off and move this out of your way. Same with that one. And then we can just pop this off. So I'm just going to take the top screw off right here on both of these, and that will free up the top. Just to show you, I took the top screw off right here, and I took the other one off right here and just kind of moved it out of the way. And now this pops up. You can see it in there. It looks like it's burnt up. That's your heat shield. It just comes off. And there's your heating element right here. That just sits in there and it disconnects right here. So I get the old one. I have it hung on my wall in the garage actually. So just so I had the part number to it in case I need to replace it again. I just refer to it. Plus it was like my trophy. It's the first time I ever did this last year. But no continuity. These coils, when we put the tester right to here, which is connected to these coils, see how they go right here? Well, when I put the tester on here, we had no beep sound, which meant there's a break somewhere in this line. You might be able to even go along here. There it is right there. There it is right there. See that? It's broken. It was connected right here, and it's not anymore. This whole coil, it should be completely connected, and you can see right where the break is, right there. It should not look like that. That should be connected. You can see right there where that break is. And that's the problem right there. That's why there was no continuity. Sometimes just putting the tester on there, you find it quicker because you can't find the break, or it doesn't make itself apparent like that. Like last year's, it didn't. I couldn't find where it was actually broken or severed like that, but right there, I mean, it's pretty obvious now. I mean, it's severed away from the whole coil. That whole coil should be one piece. That's our problem. There it is. That's our heating coil right there. So the tools we needed for this job were that multimeter right there, and we had our very small flathead screwdriver helping us pop open those little connections where the wires were. A 1/4, well, just a socket set. You're gonna need a 1/4 inch of 5/16 on this particular model anyways. I used this to take the inside of the lint compartment out, just the 2 screws. I had a pick to pick out some lint. I had this long screwdriver. I never ended up incorporating it, and then of course these are the screws that we took out to get to it, and then a couple of these here and over here, and then I had with me this. Didn't end up using this either, but and of course the butter knife, which we got the lid popped open like that. But here's what our job looks like at the end. Oh, and I had a laptop computer sitting there with me to refer to the manual, the service manual online, which I found online. The Sears doesn't sell it to you they don't want you doing this kind of stuff. Okay, well, now we're going to go online and order that $16 one made in the USA. See how long that one lasts us. Alright, just while we're waiting for our part, I went ahead and put the machine screws that were in our heat shield back in where they go. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other screws. I'm just going to put them in here so we know where they are when we start the job, and I'll just back them out. Our new heating element got here. It really got here pretty quick, but this is what a new heating element looks like as opposed to the other one I showed you. But you see the coil, and I'll tell you right now, this one's made in the USA. It was only about 20 bucks. Compared to the other coil on the other one, these coils are very significant. They're thick this way. I mean, they really are. They're just better coils, I can tell already. The other one was more like, felt like a slinky. not even, just not very thick at all. So these coils are very good. So that's probably the difference between a good heating element and a bad one. Okay, we're all done. Just plug the dryer back in, turn the power on, and hit start. There it is. Let it run for a few seconds, and then we can shut it off. And you feel inside here, oh yeah, it's definitely heating. So we're all done. Hope this helped you out.